It doesn't have to be like this anymore. With the game shaken up after its big update and a massive emphasis placed on trade, the style of play has changed, and with that, new opportunities arise in naval action. Today I share my guide to ganking trader ships, why craft things when you can just take them from crafters. This has been one of my favorite ways to play the game now, and it's pretty low risk, big reward, and a perfect way to play with you and just a friend. No giant clan is needed to do this. If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer sim gameplay, so if you're in the bet, please subscribe. First, let's set the table to give some context of why the strategy exists. Naval Action had a change that has put a very heavy emphasis on trading and crafting. Basic raw goods are produced in certain ports. Players buy them, and then they have to collect them as crafting recipes require multiple resources. Once players have collected them into a central location, they can then craft them into a finished product, and then they can take the good to a point of interest, like a port on the front line, to support wars or popular ports where they can be sold. In short, the economy is entirely reliant on goods having to be moved around from point A to point B, and the best way to move these things is to use trader ships. And these ships, in effect, are floating loot boxes. I came to the realization that I no longer had to craft materials. I could just take them. So let's talk about how to do that. The first step is to identify where we are going to find traders, and this is quite easy in the game. You can use the map and look where the front lines are between different factions. For example, Spain and Britain are bumping in South Florida between Cabo Carnival and A's. So that means gunpowder is going to have to be supplied to keep this fight going. So the next step is to see where are the ports nearby that act as collection points for resources. By using the trader tool and searching for resources, you can see where they are being produced. From there, you can then look at the port value and how much money they are generating. Really quickly, we can tell that the British are moving a lot of resources in and out of Havana and Gasparilla, and most likely are collecting it in La Esmeralda to then take it to A's. In general, I would strongly recommend players to raid the British. They seem to be the ones that are the most PvE focused, and in general, they are also incredibly greedy. More on this later. So we have a hunted ground and have an expected flow of the traders. Now we're ready to answer the first real question. Do we want to keep the loot? If you are doing this to just flush the resources down the drain, then you are fine to take a solo privateer. If you want to take the resources, then I recommend that you and another player have to work together. One is in a privateer and another one in a bigger ship that has a trader ship in fleet. This AI trader ship of your own is your mule. It will carry the loot. Either way, I recommend you always take a privateer in your composition. The reason for that is because the trader ships are quite fast and you need to be able to grab them in the open world. The privateer ship is perfect for this. The issue is that it's not a very big ship, so it can't carry that much and it can be outgunned quite easily. So that's why this is a great strategy to execute with a friend. At a high level, this strategy demands 3 parts: a hammer, a mule, and a tagger. Privateer tags the ship in the open world. When the combat begins, the privateer sails up to the trader and chains down their sails. Once the sails are down, then they are slow enough for your other friend, the hammer, and the mule to come in and blow up the trader ship and to take the loot. So again, the formula is privateer to tag and chain, hammer to blow up the trader ship, and the mule to take the loot. With the formula set, we have 2 variables that haven't been clearly defined yet, and that's our mule and the hammer. This is where we can talk about the BR considerations, because what ship you take as your mule and hammer gives you a different option. So let's talk about it. When a battle begins, there are swords that appear in the open world, and that allows for backup to come. How long these sails exist is based on the BR of the 2 sides. The side with the lower BR can allow for friendlies to appear within 15 minutes of a battle starting. The side with the higher BR can only allow for help to come within 2 minutes of a battle starting. This is a huge difference. If you take a big ship for your hammer, then you inflate the BR, and then you allow yourself to get dogpiled as you are in the middle of your gank. The most ideal scenario is that you and your friend tag an enemy trader and have enough cargo to take the loot, but are a lower BR when you don't allow enemies to join after the 2-minute mark. So let's look at how we can do that. By using the NA map website, the link is in the description, we can come up with a different composition. The privateer is 15 BR. This is our baseline. Here is what the trader ship BRs are. As you can see, the bigger the ship, the more BR it is. These traders make more money the more goods they move. It's very common to see multiple ships in a fleet, which is great for us because they bring more resources with them. Let's imagine we are ganking 2 Rotterdams. They are 48 BR each, so 2 of them is 96 BR. If we take a privateer, a trader snow for a mule, and a renome for a hammer, our total BR is 79, which means that is a really great BR to conduct this gank. Because if we tag 2 Rotterdams, then we are minimizing the risk of more help coming to the enemy side. The issue is that La Renome is not a very powerful ship. It can get outgunned, so you can certainly bring a bigger ship, like a Ratison, which is a much larger 4th rate. It can handle its own, but the BR is much larger. It's 107, and puts the total BR of our composition at 148. You will need to gank 3 galleons or 3 Rotterdams in order to have a lower BR with that. That's extremely rare. In general, your BR and the BR of your enemy really dictate where you can and can't tag. If your BR is lower, then you can tag almost anywhere. If your BR is high, I would not recommend tagging near a port, because if you tag someone in a clan, they will have backup streaming in very quickly, which will spoil your gank. My recommendation is that you take the lowest BR as possible while balancing the need to take a big enough trader to suck up resources. So 1 renome, 1 trader brig, and 1 privateer. If you want to be safe, you can use a trader's links instead of a trader's brig, but this will eat into your profits. It all boils down to the original question: do you want the loot? Now that we have the composition, you need gunpowder, cannonballs, rig repairs, and especially you need to bring chain balls, which is critical. This only works if you're able to chain down the enemy trader sails. Along with that, the person using the privateer may want to take the brawler perk so they get the control ability. This will make sure the enemy ships are not able to disappear under your nose. With all of this set, we can now talk about how to execute a clean gank. The privateer needs to be able to gank by being upwind of the target with their buddy close by. Once in the battle, the first thing you should do is hit the home button, scroll up on your mouse, and look at the enemy ship and to see if it's even armed or not. Yes, more often than not, they aren't even carrying guns because they are so greedy. 80 to 90% of the time, they don't even have weapons, and it's common. And it's so common that I'm actually thinking about just only taking privateers when going against the British, because they seem to be the absolute greediest. Once you have determined if they have weapons or not, then this gives your privateer some flexibility. Note that even if they do have guns, they may not even have gunpowder. The picture on the top right will tell you if their guns are armed or not. So if they have guns, these numbers stay at 0 after a few minutes, then the coast should be clear. Privateers should run up behind the enemy and just chain it down. There's very little for the other trader to do. They will never be able to get away from the privateer. If they turn and fight or raise their sails to protect their sails, they are just allowing for your hammer to get even closer. The only option they really have is to try to board your privateer, but the issue with that is that the privateer is really fast, and it's not really easy to board one of those things because they can get away so quickly. With the sails demolished, the hammer should be able to make quick work of the trader. The only tricky thing is that the hammer needs to make sure that they order their trader to follow at the start of the battle, or the AI trader will leave on its own. Once the ship is sunk, then the mule needs to be close to the hammer and the sunk ship. This will allow you to transfer the loot from the sunk ship onto your mule. Now from here, we need to make sure that we don't get caught, because smooth criminals do not get caught. I recommend that the privateer leaves first and checks the open world. If there's a stack of people there, then the hammer and the mule need to escape to port, and you can safely get sent to a port and just totally avoid the counter gank. Again, when you take resources, especially from a really large Rotterdam, and put it into a trader's brig, your ship is going to be heavy. So it don't want to be slow in the open world and get counter ganked. This is a recipe for success. It is easy to execute, and it's way more fun than doing trading or crafting. You can seriously make a lot of money, and the sheer greed of these traders makes it so. They are literally just fat, juicy, floating loot boxes that are essentially defenseless. All you have to do is just reach out and take it. One last thing about this is to stay motivated. Not every gank is going to realize a profit, but when it does, it will be big. Gunpowder is not really that heavy, and it's really common to run up on someone carrying 50,000 plus of gunpowder. 50,000 gunpowder is $250,000 reals in the market. That's a good score for 15 minutes of work. Now, with this shared out and you equipped to do it, I hope you will allow me a few minutes to explain an idea I had for trading, because I know the devs will be listening and would love for you to share your reaction in the comments so they can see. One of the reasons why I'm sharing this video is to highlight the dull nature of trading. People are just AFK sailing, moving goods around. And as you do this, you'll start to notice to see how unengaged people really are when they sail around doing trading. They are asleep at the wheel and they're not even expecting to get ganked. And you can just tell that because they're not even bothering carrying weapons. The traders know, I know, and now you know, so let's eat. I'm hoping that as people gank them more, that the traders do what traders always do, which is complain and put pressure for some changes. One thing that I would like to suggest is to build an economy around trading, or rather the movement of goods. Right now, trading happens because everyone is doing it individually. It's pretty aimless and it's random. There needs to be a way for people to take part in trading that is better facilitated by the game. It shouldn't rely solely on clans or players organizing themselves, just sailing around in a really dull open world. It makes the game feel less accessible for average players, and it gives favor to the players who have more time. My suggestion is that ports dictated by the clan owning the port can schedule AI convoys, let's say one per day. These convoys would sail to a determined destination, and the goods they would bring would be based on what players are putting into the convoy. Players could rent space based on how much weight they are putting into the convoy. Clans could craft trading ships and assign them to the convoys to make for more space that can be rented out and make money off what is being rented out. This also gives the ability for these convoys to be intercepted and also escorted. The convoy reach its target, then the escorts make a percentage of the fee. Make a percentage of the fee that went into the weight rental. This makes a little economy around trading. It gives a reason to craft trader ships in bulk to allow clans to make money off of their facilitation of a really needed service. And you give reason for players to come together. And this also really allows individual players to try to more safely move materials around. Because right now, as you can tell from this strategy, you're pretty much just a free floating juicy loot box. Along with that, you can even go a step further and make a strategic element where ports can be invested into by the owning clan to make the ports bigger, so they can do more convoys to further distances. This would really give a strategic element to the map. Trading and crafting is really dull right now. It favors the people who have time, and I don't think it's worth the rat race. Just get a privateer and a friend to be your hammer and mule and go to town on these guys. Their greed is your gain, and this is a proven way to make money and have fun while doing it. Let me know what you think about this strategy below. Have you been doing anything like this? If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe. It really helps. Thank you.